We're going to do a PA on the talus, and we can also look a little bit at the distal tib fib as well in this area. So I have Kelsey positioned on all fours with her foot biased into a little bit of plantar flexion by putting the foam roll under her foot. Some people that don't really have very much plantar flexion, you may not need the foam roll, but that's why it's there, because most people will need some amount of that just to get to that infill a little faster. Now, the PA on the talus. So many people have some amount of an external rotation moment of the talus, and that really exposes that bone laterally here, okay? In a perfect world with correcting shear and everything that we've done so far, it wouldn't be externally rotated at this point, but oftentimes people will have even if you've worked in one position, you need to check other positions to see if there's any amount that still needs to be cleaned up, okay? So we are biasing her into plantar flexion, and we want to try and find the talus posteriorly to get it to glide relatively anteriorly as she goes into a plantar flexed position. So everything to this point has really been helping dorsiflexion. Now we're going to kind of end this series on the talus with a plantar flexion moment. So I want to try and get her ankle to a more neutral position. All right, so I want to kind of control what the rest of her foot is doing to keep it neutral. And now I want to feel if I get on the medial portion of the talus versus the lateral portion of the talus, which one has a harder infield, okay? Most people, there's going to be a harder infield on the lateral, and that's kind of hitting on that externally rotated talus that I was probably biasing everyone's brain towards. But don't have a bias of your brain because it could be medial, okay? So if I control her foot, bring her calcaneus into a neutral position, I get on that posterior talus there, and I have a nice infill there, I can further localize that by having her sit back, straight back, Kelsey. There, right there, okay, it kind of tightens up. Now if I want to bias it into a diagonal, so that was straight back. So come off of that and go back into the right, Kelsey. Nope, that loosens it up a little bit and come back off. And then back into the left. There. And then come back. And that can just check, do I want straight back? So go straight back again. And then come back off of that. And then go back into the left. And that like winds it up so much faster there. Okay, so the functional mobilization here could be just have her go on and off pressure on that diagonal. So go ahead and do that, Kelsey. Back to the left, there, back off pressure just a little right there, and then back on. And ideally, we'll just have a small motion on pressure, off pressure. The other thing I could do is have her stay there. So on the next one, just stay there. Good, and try to dorsiflex your foot. Oh, that's great, strong. And let it go. So I don't really want any motion to happen when she dorsiflexes, so go ahead and engage that. There you go, foot into the foam roller, and let it go. It's not the most comfortable mobilization in the world. She's probably like grimacing a little bit, but it doesn't, people don't end up being like crazy sore typically after that, so you don't want to be super, super heavy-handed and just not listen to your client that's telling you that they're in pain, but also just kind of know it's typically a little bit uncomfortable for a lot of people, and just figure out what level of pain they're in, and then just kind of make a clinical decision from there as to, is it appropriately terrible? That's like the term that I like to use. Is it appropriately terrible, or is it like harm is actually being done? Okay, so that is PA of the talus, biasing into a relative plantar flexed position.